It's a feeling echoed by many in Poland.
And that something is wrong with Polish democracy.
And, as it turns out, many in the European Union.
And the whole world knows that something is wrong with the Polish judicial system.
Poland is at odds with member nations over systemic changes to their voting and judicial systems. The European Parliament recently voted to start a process to potentially impose sanctions against Poland. Among other things, Poland's new laws change the way the State Election Commission members are chosen. They conduct and oversee the entire election process. The changes would empower the current ruling party, the Law and Justice Party, or PIS, to directly choose the members. Other smaller but impactful election-related changes have also been made. The cancellation of voting by mail and imposing new term limits on mayors among them.
The Law and Justice Party says that they're doing this to try to make free and fair elections. What do you think about that?
Well, none of those provisions helped us in anything to make our judiciary faster, better, like more transparent or whatever. Its only goal is to make it more dependent, politically dependent, that's all.
Maria Ehart-Dubois and Michal Wawikiewicz are human rights lawyers in Warsaw. They've been active opponents of these changes since they began.
Our common democratic home is being
dismantled by those at power.
They've even created a viral video showing their opposition.
It has started just after elections in November 2015. Law and Justice Party got power, and first step of destroying the system was the Constitutional Court.
In 2015, the outgoing majority political party PO quickly appointed a handful of judges. PIS member and newly sworn-in President Andrzej Duda refused to swear them in.
If we don't have actually independent constitutional court, then we don't have any barrier that stops unconstitutional laws passed by the parliament. The rights of people and citizens are threatened because they don't have any protection coming from the constitutional body.
When communism in Poland fell in 1989, the country built their own Supreme Court behind me, much like the one that we have in the United States. But when new laws go into effect, the makeup of the court will be completely different.
The new law lowers the retirement age for the Supreme Court's judges from 70 to 65 for men and 60 for women. That cut forces out nearly half the justices. To address the European Union's concerns, the PIS offered an amendment, making the retirement age 65 for both genders. The Supreme Court justices called the changes fictitious and cosmetic.
If you move out the judges from the Supreme Court before the end of their term, it is first unconstitutional, and second, it means that those judges are to be replaced by politicians. And it means that the Supreme Court will become politically dependent.
On the other hand, Tomasz Stopensky, a member of the far-right-wing national group Niklot, says the courts need to rebuild their reputations. He doesn't think any justices from the communist period should be on the bench.
The Law and Justice government are trying to rebuild this potential. In 1989, all judges should have been fired.
He calls many of the current justices sympathizers to post-communist oligarchy.
This is why the Law and Justice law is going in the right direction, but it should be more radical.
This issue trickles down to the lower courts as well. Justices can now appoint judges to specific cases. The new law would also give power to the justice minister to fire senior judges. After an EU outcry, the PIS agreed to require the justice minister to get approval from the other bodies. Critics say the change won't make a difference because the same party controls each branch. In a televised interview, President Andrzej Duda called it an example of checks and balances.
Panie redaktorze, a kwestia kontroli?
A kwestia porozumienia?
Władze powinny się nawzajem kontrolować. Jaka była do tej pory kontrola?
Czyli to politycy powinni kontrolować sędziów?
W jakimś sensie wzajemna kontrola jest tutaj potrzebna. To jest właśnie prawdziwy obraz demokracji, kiedy nie jest takiej sytuacji, że jedna władza jest absolutnie nietykalna i ma absolutną przewagę nad innymi władzami, bo jest niedotykalna.
A co jeśli, bo rozumiem,
nieweryfikowalna w żaden sposób.
A May 14th meeting suggested Poland had not yet appeased the European Commission. As the Commission's vice president said, some progress had been made over the last couple of weeks, but not enough to say the systemic threat to the rule of law would be removed. The Commission will discuss the issue again next month, but many aren't sure the extra few weeks will alter the Polish government's stance. Its minister at the meeting said Poland has made progress Today, we expect progress from the European Commission. Opinion polling suggests the PIS will remain in power after ballots are cast later this year and again in 2019.